Welcome back to another episode of Dungeon Hammer, brought to you by One Mind Syndicate. I am your host, Gershwan, and I wish I was here with my two co-hosts, Bridget B. and Abella, I am here with my two co-hosts.
Docile Creature.
And the sound Alchemist.
And today we're going to be talking about how to deal with a murder hobo in your party. Now first, let's explain what a murder hobo is.
So a murder hobo is usually everybody's first character, a character that you don't really have created a background for, and it's mostly just a person that's there to level up, kill things, and just keep fighting.
And just so that everybody understands, there is nothing wrong with being a murder hobo in D&D. As a matter of fact, old school D&D seemed to be just murder hobos. It's mostly about the best part. Well, for me, I think at my core, I think I am slightly a murder hobo. But so there's nothing wrong with being a murder hobo. Sometimes you just want to let off that steam after work.
Mm-hmm.
But as a DM, it really restricts your ability to do what you can do.
Yeah, because when you're playing a murder hobo, you don't really care too much of the story. You're just there to kill things, gain their loot. Essentially, you're in an RPG game. That's your mindset.
Diablo or Baldur's Gate, which is
I'm here to
D&D
level
inspired.
up, loot, and just murder and take whatever I want.
So, as a DM who wants to showcase more to the player, how have you guys done it?
Another thing, just before we get to that, is a lot of new players, like you said, like their first characters. Also, players that don't have a lot of experience with D&D in general. They don't necessarily know what D&D is, so they might, like you said, take it as a game. So, fixing or how are we gonna word this?
Bringing up a murder hobo to speed.
Sure.
How about enlightening them?
There you go.
Enlightening,
Enlightening. I think it's lead by example.
That's true.
Like if you feel like that the reason why they're being a murder hobo is they're just not sure they're like what D&D is or something like that.
So let's explain what D&D is first.
Okay. It's a role-playing game.
Exactly. The world's most well-known role-playing game. Oh, I can't even speak. So exactly, it is not about leveling up. It's not an RPG. Well,
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is an RPG, but with the focus isn't entirely on killing things. There is a story to it that you should be paying attention to.
It's not just a game, it's a role-playing game.
Right.
Yeah. So at the core, a murder hobo is playing the wrong game. They should just play 40K, is what you're saying.
They're basically trying to play a video game on the tabletop.
There
Yeah.
you
with
go.
pen and paper.
That's and I feel like since most people don't know about D&D, that's what they're going to associate it to, a video game.
Yeah. I get what you're saying now.
And video games are 100% railroading. Dang, I can't speak.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Even more open world games, there are invisible walls and there's
Yeah.
tracks that you go on depending on what choices you make.
And essentially that's what the DM is here for, to kind of point you in the right direction. And the murder hobo's only direction is fight.
Yeah, and loot.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you guys introduce then other aspects of the game to a murder hobo?
That's going to be really hard because session 0, we keep saying this, and as much as we don't do it, session 0 is very, very important. Because any inkling of backstory that a murder hobo player tells you is something you should latch on to quick.
Definitely.
If they say, I don't have a backstory, I'm just here to fight, make it up, then you can use that to your advantage because now the DM can include that murder hobo in any way he wants to his story.
Well, I think you should even take a step before that. If you want this player to be more role play, I guess, and they come to you saying, "Screw that, come up with all the backstory stuff. I just want to fight and kill stuff." The problem starts right there. Like it's not. I don't think you should necessarily be like, "Okay, I'll make it up," and you just kill things and
you could
loot
say
people.
You don't care about your backstory because maybe you're an amnesiac, and now it's the rest of the players in that party to find out, well, why does this person not care about anything and just wants to fight? Once you improvise on that, then that could be the grander story.
Yeah, the only problem with what I see Sound Alchemist saying is that
You're focusing too much on that player.
well, no.
Well, it's not a fix.
Right. Yeah. Because
it's just like a Band-Aid. It's like, oh, we'll get to you later. Like you'll learn eventually, but it's not like guiding that person on the right path.
Because the way I see it is we have a person in our group that does that. So if he came to us and was like, build a backstory for me, I wouldn't even touch it because it would be a situation where it's like, well, it doesn't matter. You're not going to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
That's true.
You're not going to care about it unless you come up with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think a good way to get a murder hobo out of his like slaughtering mentality is introducing him to a different chaos god and the chaos god of anything else. And by that I mean it's like, so I'm trying to connect it to 40K, but I couldn't, so I bailed on that one. So what I'm trying to say is like, so a murder hobo wants to loot and kill. So what you should first try to do is play around with the idea of killing. So if the murder hobo wants to kill, throw a child in front of him. That child is protecting his dad who's wounded. Are you going to kill the child in order to get to the dad? Yes. Then it creates a situation. Yeah. More than likely the murder hobo is going to say yes. Yeah. But then that builds like a concept of like, oh yeah, there's morality in this game.
And then if they do end up killing the child, be sure to implement consequences.
Yes, that's a big thing.
Not necessarily like, oh, the guards are going to hunt you down until they get you, which you can do that because if they break the law, it's like there's magical ways of finding who did it, blah 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 blah. But also, like I think I've mentioned this before, but when they inevitably loot the child or loot the father, there's like things in there that pull on the heartstrings or attempt to pull on the heartstrings, like a locket with a family picture in it or something like that, or a note written from the wife like, "Oh, come on, I'll see you tonight. Have I got dinner ready?" or something like that.
Or maybe as the child is about to breathe his last breath, he looks at the murder hobo and says, "Brother."
Oh yeah, that would be really good. Yeah.
And your murder hobo is either going to say, "I don't care," or they're going to be like, what is this feeling I'm feeling in my chest right now?
Yeah, exactly.
This is strange. And ideally, it'd be the latter.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because if they just keep on going on this murder spree, like, at what point do you just kind of say, that's just his character, like, he's not going to learn?
Well, another thing you could also do, I was thinking, is, especially if it's a consistent thing, there's other people in the party.
Exactly.
So, like, you have to, like, you don't even have to get the other people to get on your side, but you can just throw out that moral conundrum to the party in general and just be like, you guys just witnessed this murder hobo kill
a child.
Yeah.
And just, like, dig through his pockets like it was nothing.
Because I've been in that situation where I killed some pirates that were definitely fucking pirates. And then the party was like, oh, they weren't even
Until
pirates.
The DM said they weren't pirates.
Yeah, and it feels bad as a player, and then it just, like, makes you reevaluate the way that you're continuing. Either that or it just makes you completely disconnect and then whatever. But yeah. So yeah, playing with the party and giving that moral conundrum to the entire party, kind of in a way making the murder hobo realize that like you need to learn through through mimicking what the other players are doing. Yeah. Because if the other players are showing emotions and you're not showing emotions, then maybe there's something wrong with you.
Right.
If you're a new player, like the players and the DM should, like I was saying, like lead by example. Like show this DM or the murder
player.
hobo what the rest of the group thinks D&D is and how they want to play it, to kind of show the murder hobo will be like, oh, this is how, or they'll just ignore it and just keep on their ways. But ideally, trying to show them what D&D is.
Yeah, it's like I shouldn't just kill everything outright. I should ask them, hey, do you want some nuggets?
Yeah,
sure.
Instead of just saying, no, I'm going to kill you and take your money.
Yeah, and you can also, as a DM, incentivize not murdering or not looting. Like if they come across a challenge and the group persuades this person not to attack or not to get in a fight, they get an even better reward than they would have if they would have just killed it and took the stuff.
Yep.
But what if that's a character's flaw? Do you ever feel like being a murder hobo is a viable flaw for a character? Like, let's say they do have a backstory. They do actually care about role-playing, but their flaw is that they kill.
In other words, you're playing a Kenku, because I think that's the thing about Kenkus, right? They're supposed to just be like attracted to shiny things and they want to keep things, stuff like that. Because that's how I played my very first character. I wanted to be basically a thief, a compulsive thief. So I wanted to loot. And I quickly learned that that's kind of a really dumb character flaw if you take it to a certain extent.
It's just not a deep character.
Yeah.
Flaw. It shouldn't be like the only thing that you hinge a character on. And it was your first character, so how are you going to know that?
Yeah, yeah.
You said something that I was going to respond to.
Oh, how do you combat?
Oh, if
they flesh out their character, but that's
if they have a background and they choose, like, they make character choices that make a murder hobo, then that is role playing. Like if they still role play too at the table, but their character takes actions that are murder hobo-y, then I think that's different because that's a person making a character and role playing a character that kind of fit the murder hobo vibe,
Yeah, like a barbarian.
Yeah, or a mercenary or anything like that. Like chances are you're gonna have characters that, like, even if you role play, that are might be murder hobos, but I think we're talking about somebody that all they know is murder hobo.
Or all they want to do is kill and loot. Yeah. Because another thing, too, that I was thinking about doing with our friend that's a murder hobo is giving him a cursed item. And because, like, if the main goal is to murder and loot, well, what if the moral conundrum isn't fixing something? What if the loot that you're getting out of the murders that you're doing is something negative?
Yeah.
And it hurts the most important thing that most murder hobos want is like their strength and their
power,
damage.
yeah.
Yeah. So hitting a murder hobo where it hurts is also a good tactic.
Because you could still fight things and bring them down to 0, but not kill them. You could knock them out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of different ways to overcome obstacles that are things that want to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Running away.
Yeah.
But do you think if you're giving somebody a cursed item, they just won't take it? It's like, oh, this cursed item helps me kill things, but I can't. Like, it's going to hurt me too?
But even so, I think you should start it off with that, just giving them a cursed item and giving them the option of, like, taking it with them or not, just to show them that there is a different element to this world other than just looting, items. But if they still just completely ignore the cursed item, then I think just moving on to a different form of fixing the murder hobo.
Yeah.
Or make it like the Lord of the Rings ring, where they, like, can't
take it
just say, oh, I don't want this ring anymore. Like, it pulls them, warps
but
their
then
mind.
that's a role play aspect that they're going to kind of be forced to play.
Yeah.
Do you think they would, though?
No, so because the same thing happened to me. So this is the same person that we're talking about. I gave him when I was DMing for him, I gave him a riddle, and the riddle was like, somebody comes up to you, hands you a piece of paper. The piece of paper reads, "Say the magic word and knock 3 times, and you're going to be transported to like your home world." And he didn't get it. He didn't know what it was. So it really wasn't a cursed item, but it was just like an item with like a hook to it. And he just ignored it and then just like moved on. Never mentioned it again. Like didn't mention it to the party and stuff.
And I guess that's something to note when dealing with murder hobos. Don't give them like story hinging information or items.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they might just be like, I don't know what this is, whatever.
Right.
Where's the next thing I get to kill?
Yeah.
But I also didn't take it to heart either, because it was a whole ordeal too. We went out to eat, and I was like, "Yo, man, this is what's gonna happen. This happens to you."
Oh, wow.
And then he was just like, fuck it." And then I didn't take it bad. I was just like, "Okay, well, moving on then. Let's focus on other people in the party." Because another thing, too, I guess we need to talk about is when do you know when to throw in the towel and just be like, all right, if you're going to be a murder hobo, be a murder hobo.
I think that's kind of like what Sound Alchemist was saying. Like, if they're like, oh, I don't want to come up with any backstory, I just want to kill things and loot them. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, but we all want to play a role-playing game. You just want to play a game. So can you do this for us? And he's like, nope, not doing it. Then... I mean, you either say, okay, we're not playing on Tuesdays anymore.
Change the locks.
Or you just kind of got to deal with it. You got to either make him conform or make the rest of the group conform.
That's when you tell them, hey, we're playing on Wednesdays now. Yeah. And just have them show up on Wednesday and be like, oh, I guess everybody
have everybody in the group on Wednesday be like, oh, I can't make it.
Yeah.
Not feeling good.
What's interesting is that this kind of happened to me and the Sound Alchemist. We had a DM. We used to get into a bunch of shenanigans, and I don't think the party liked it, and I don't think the DM liked it, and and the way that we corrected our whole thing was the consequences behind our shenanigans.
Yeah, our consequences were getting steeper and steeper.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, we get it.
So that's another way. Just make the consequences to the point where it's like, if you guys keep doing this, you're going to end up dying.
Yeah.
And I'm not scared to kill you guys.
I think the thing that made me stop doing all these things was like, all right, I'm seeing how much trouble the rest of the party has to go through to like get us out of these consequences. Because I was in jail at one point, and it's like, oh, well, here comes the rest of the party having to break me out of jail or get me out of jail some way.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, this really is not just slowing down the
story,
but it's like, okay, I could see it in everybody's faces where it's like, okay, I don't want to be looked at this way anymore. And
then at that point too, you as a murder hobo make the decision of like, oh, maybe this isn't the right party for me then. Maybe I should be the one to step away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're a murder hobo and all you want to do is play a murder hobo, you will be able to find a group of other murder hobos.
How is it DMing a group of murder hobos?
I bet it's fun. I bet you throw dungeons at them all day.
Yeah, it's just call it beer and pretzels D&D. It's like you just show up, awesome. You just show up and just basically play a video game for a few hours, crack jokes, kill stuff, get some loot. Show up the next session. Hey, I got a new +2 sword. Let's kill some more orcs or whatever.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I should make a mega dungeon. I feel like every time we have a podcast, I say I should run this for you guys, and I never do.
You do that in just everyday life.
Yeah.
You don't just say it in the podcast.
Oh, calling me out.
I should get cheese curds. Nope.
Oh, we're getting cheese curds. If they're closed, I'm breaking in.
Making them yourselves.
That's right.
But yeah, if you actually made a huge mega dungeon, would be fucking awesome because it's you. The docile creature has a really good way of DMing.
Yeah, his DM skills are astronomical.
But you do also showcase another thing where it's like that maybe that is your answer to just throwing in the towel. Just being like, all right, if you want to be a murder hobo, I'll give you an entire arc of murder hobo aspect things.
Or just be like the rest of the party, do you want to play just beer and pretzels D&D instead of like an actual story because just so everybody's happy at the table?
Yeah. Or, you could even twist in, like, story arcs into the giant dungeon.
For everybody else to, like, latch on to, and the other guy just is like a dog on a leash. Is like, okay, combat time, let him free.
That would be cool if you just have, like, that one murder hobo just chained up and it's like, let him loose.
And then he tries to kill you.
That's interesting.
Which has happened to us. Mm-hmm. We've had player-to-player contact a lot.
Yeah.
Or conflict. There's... Do you guys have other ways you guys could deal with a murder hobo?
I think the one thing that like where everybody's forgetting about the murder hobo is like what is his reasoning for just killing, like besides not having a reason.
So we should like sit down. How was your child?
Yeah, have an intervention with them. Like if you say, I just want to kill things for fun.
Yeah.
Why is it fun for you? What aspects of that?
Identify the player's goals of playing D&D.
Right. Not the actual character, but the actual player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's going on at your I just want to sit down and just I don't want to have to go through emotional crap at the table. I just want to go and kill stuff. Like this is just my time to relax. I just want to do that. It's like, okay, fine. And another thing is like you should actually figure out if this is going to be a problem. Because, like you said in the beginning, just because you're a murder hobo isn't a bad thing.
Right.
And if nobody else cares that he's a murder hobo, including the DM,
that's fine.
Then it's not a problem. Just let him be a murder hobo.
You could still have a perfectly good functioning storyline with a murder hobo in it. Just you kind of have to make sure that don't give him, like you were saying earlier, huge clues that are going to drive the story or like have questions being asked to him that he's not going to answer correctly.
You don't. I mean, it's just easier on the DM because you don't have to like
you have to worry about
flesh out and like carve out the story dedicated to this one player because they're not going to care anyways.
Right. You're not playing a session for 4 people anymore. It's just a 3-person session, except when you get into fights.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you guys have any advice as to not do if you do have a murder hobo? Like, what is something that you just shouldn't do
at all?
Yeah.
You don't want to force him to role play. Because I feel like if you're forcing somebody to do something that they're not comfortable with, the rest of the party is going to you're going to bring them down too. Because it's going to slow things down. The vibes are going to be off. And it's the same thing as asking somebody who's role playing, like, oh, your character's Russian. Why aren't you speaking with a Russian accent? You're putting too much emphasis and focus on something that someone's not comfortable with, and that's going to impact everything.
Okay. But what if, just playing devil's advocate, because I agree with you, what if kind of pushing them into the deep end is what they need to kind of come out of their shell and be able to do that Russian accent every time, or be able to actually begin role playing? It's like this was a steep hurdle for them to get over, and if we push them over it, then they're like, oh, this isn't as bad.
You do it. You try to ease them into it one time. If that doesn't work, then you push them into the deep end.
Especially if they have like a obvious negative reaction to it.
And I'd say give them 2 tries, and that's it.
Yeah.
Ease them in. Yeah. Ease them in. If they react, negatively, then stop.
And if the first time it goes badly, like the other people at the table try to
encourage, right?
Yeah, make it like have the other players have accents now. Like just do it, just to make this guy feel comfortable, so that he sees that if Sound Alchemist does a voice at the table and we laugh at him, it's not necessarily because like, oh, he's doing a crappy job at the voice. It's like, oh, we're not used to you doing that voice. It's not like you're doing a bad job. It's just like, it's interesting hearing you do an accent or whatever.
Laugh and that it's normal. Not at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I still think that initial laughter will be stuck on the murder hobo's mind, saying, oh, I don't want him to laugh at me at all. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible.
But so then throwing them in the deep end then would be a situation where like you do have to hold on to that as your last resort.
Mm-hmm. And then I'd say also ask the rest of the party members, are you okay with a murder hobo?
Yeah.
Are you okay with somebody that's not going to help you be the face of the party?
Yeah.
And might actively bring negative consequences to the party.
Hey, sorry, murder hobo, you're going to have to be out of this DM.
Yeah.
Out of this D&D session.
As a DM, you could also always twist it over and hand it over to the party, because back to our situation where we were the ones doing, me and the Sound Alchemist were the ones getting into shenanigans. The DM kind of did that, where it's like, okay, so these guys are doing this. Are you guys gonna keep letting him do these types of things? So using the party and the cooperation of the party against the murder hobo is another way to deal with the murder hobo that I just thought of.
Yeah, that should really be like probably the first line of defense. It's like, hey, he just killed a kid. Are you guys going to do anything about that? Mm-hmm. And then if they don't, then you start sending the guards after him and magical detectives and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then it could just boil down to like a player versus player thing, and then it's easy for you as a DM, because then it's just kind of like, all right, well, let's see who's better.
Roll initiative. That's all I got to do is...
The murder hobo came out on top. You're all murder hobos now.
King murder hobo.
Yeah. He's now like tying him up in chains. Yeah. He's walking his dogs, which are actually the party.
That'd be horrible.
But hey, now you made him roleplay. Now he's got to take care of dogs. Yeah. It's the rest of the party. That's the only way the murder hobo comes out on top.
Yeah. Kill the rest of the party.
And make them his slaves.
That'd be a cool, like maybe even entire campaign.
I'll run that for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So, let's say the opposite happens. Let's say the party actually does beat the murder hobo into submission, not just outright killing him. Do you continue that aspect to flow? Like, you just use him as a means of just fighting? Like, do you ask the player, hey, the party obviously doesn't want you killing people. You're now being chained up and you're essentially a captive to the party. Mm-hmm. Do you still want to continue playing? Or do you just let it keep going?
I think if someone is playing Murder Hobo at the table and the rest of the party beats up their character, and it's like, stop. And the player's like, I'm going to keep doing it anyways.
Well, that's why you got to have like multiple... It's like
that's an outside the table
you're a social worker at that time. Yeah. You're trying to rehabilitate that murder hobo.
But like, if you can tell... Your sessions are just reining in your murder hobo for the players and the DM every session, or every time you get into combat, or not in combat, and it's actively slowing down the whole game every session. Then that's when you step out of the game and just be like, "Bro, come on." That's what I think.
Yeah, because I think if you as a player get tied up and you have the entire party in character telling you, "Hey, stop,"
Yeah.
I think that should be like the red flag, because you guys had that situation initially, right? Before I came into the to the campaign that we all played in, where you guys had to tie up a character
Yeah, that
in
was
order
me.
for him not to cut or to kill people.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you probably got the message.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna stop. Like I have to keep doing it because that was my character's quote unquote flaw. He was a warlock, and his patron was telling him to do it because he had his brother held captive, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I have to keep killing to make sure that my brother stays alive. So
Is there anything that the party did that you thought like, oh, that's fucking stupid? Like,
no, everything
in a
they
way
did
to
made
deal?
sense.
Okay.
It's like the way I'm behaving, I would want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like I never really told them why I was doing these things. So it's like, am I at fault for appearing like a murder hobo, even though I have backstory backing it up?
Do you think it would have helped if the DM would have been like, hey, they don't know about your backstory? Maybe let them know.
Yeah, but I think I never really saw an opportunity to let them know. Because whenever I did get stopped, I'm like, well, I just need to get out. Like it doesn't. Like, I'm not going to tell them. Like I just need to get out.
Because another thing too that I just thought of is like I think, especially from a personal experience, there are certain things that are kept secret that shouldn't be kept secret.
Mm-hmm.
Because there has to be a distinction between you and your player, or you and your character. So maybe if you are surrounded, or maybe if you are in a party with a murder hobo, maybe like say, hey, out of character, is there a purpose for you to doing this? Because if there is, then I can keep playing the way that I'm playing, knowing that eventually this is going to be revealed.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, because that is another thing too. And then as a DM, you should know why your murder hobo is a murder hobo, if there is a gimmick to it.
A reason, yeah, like backstory.
Yeah, but what if that reason doesn't change them from not being a murder hobo?
Like if it's just like, I'm going to be a murder hobo for life.
Like I'm thinking of, was it Cassius Cassidy? Carnage. He's a psychopath.
Cletus Cassidy, yeah.
Cletus Cassidy. He's a psychopath. Like he's gonna kill things. Like his story makes him be a psychopath, but like that's not gonna change him from not being one. So even knowing his backstory is not gonna stop him. Do you still keep playing, or keep that player going?
Well, let's fast forward in the future.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to that character that you played?
He died.
How?
You killed me.
Yes, because you were out of control. So we had to put you down.
To be honest, the reason why I became out of control was because I wanted to play a new character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I could have easily controlled it.
Yeah.
Right.
Could have reined it back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that situation is, I don't even think that was a character flaw. I think it was more of a rebellious act towards, like, the way that the game was being played, though. If I'm not wrong, like it was just like, this is how I'm gonna show my dislike of the situation. And what I think we should take from that is understanding that maybe the murder hobo, who is like an unrelenting murder hobo, is doing it for a particular reason, and that's
out for attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe that's when the DM should step in and be like, hey man, like what's going on outside of character. Yeah.
So if you're saying like, oh, like this D&D campaign isn't focusing on my character at all, the only way to get my character attention is to kill.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I'm saying no. Talk to the DM before doing that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Because if you're killing people and being a murder hobo for attention, that's never good.
I agree.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, do it once or twice, but then be like, hey, like, I have a storyline too, or like, hey, like, can we like stop from doing this and focus on this?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Be an adult and have a conversation.
Yeah, because if you talk to the DM and then nothing's getting resolved, then continuing to go and then continuing to just like mess shit up, it's only gonna be fun for like a month, and after that you're gonna be like, all right, I'm done.
It's only gonna be fun for a few years, and then it's like, okay, maybe I should stop.
But yeah.
Yeah, because no matter what, D&D is always going to have fights.
Yeah.
Like, I've never played a session where it's been entirely no fights. Even, like, when a session was going, like, 4 hours, at the end there was, like, a fight. Or, like, we had multiple opportunities to make fights happen. So if you just want to play D&D for the fights, they're going to be there.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill everything or start a fight for no reason. Like, opportunities are going to present themselves.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Your stats are there for a reason. If this was just a complete
combat simulator,
then it's like there's no reason to make backstories
or even anything in between combat.
Right. It's just be fight after fight after fight.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find yourself in a situation where the DM just seems to be trying to like throw stuff at you that you don't want to do, and you just want to keep being a murder hobo, then do what the docile creature was saying, is like find one of those
groups,
pancake houses,
beer and pretzel.
There you go. That's what I was thinking. And just fucking eat waffles and fucking eat chicken with your friends and kill things.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they're both equally fun.
Yeah. So that's how we have seen people deal with murder hobos, and how hopefully it helps you deal with your murder hobo. If you guys have any other hints or tips, let us know in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions for any other topics that you guys would like us to cover, also let us know. But with that said, this was Gershwan,
Docile Creature,
and the Sound Alchemist, and we'll be seeing you guys in the next one.